reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on earth nations will be in dismay, perplexed by the roaring of the sea and the waves. People will die of fright in anticipation of what is coming upon the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. But when these signs begin to happen, stand erect and raise your heads, because your redemption is at hand. Beware that your hearts do not become drowsy from carousing and drunkenness and the anxieties of daily life, and that day catch you by surprise like a trap. For that day will assault everyone who lives on the face of the earth. Be vigilant at all times and pray that you have the strength to escape the tribulations that are imminent and stand before the Son of Man." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
One of my all-time favorite movies is The Shawshank Redemption. It's because one of the main themes of the movie is hope. In particular, there's one scene where Andy is talking to Red and they're having lunch, and Andy had just been put in solitary confinement. And if you know anything about the movie, you've never seen the movie before, basically the premise is that Andy was convicted of a crime that he is innocent for. And it's really, the movie chronicles his time in prison, and the prison literally is called Shawshank Prison. So there's one scene where Andy and his best friend Red, who's played by Morgan Freeman, are talking to one another. And they're talking about, how did Andy last a month in solitary confinement? It's because Andy goes, "I have hope. I have hope. Hope is what keeps me going. Hope keeps me alive. It makes me motivated." And Red, who has spent most of his life in prison, looks at him and says, "Listen, my friend, hope is a very dangerous thing. It can entrap a man. It could cripple him. It could choke him." So here is Red, who has no hope. And for me, one of the most powerful scenes in that is that Red admits to Andy at one point that he played the harmonica as a kid. So Andy actually gifts Red a harmonica. And the one scene is that Red is all alone in his cell, and he tries to play the harmonica, and he can't, because he has no hope. Such a powerful, moving, really emotional scene in that movie. And today, as we begin this season of Advent, we will light the first candle of the Advent wreath, the candle that symbolizes hope. Because Advent is a time of hopeful expectation. Because we are expecting, we know that Jesus is going to be born into the world at Christmas. And so we're waiting. We're waiting for what we know is upon us. However, in our gospel today, we fast forward to Jesus' telling his disciples about his second coming. What will happen when the Messiah comes again? Because at first, we can think, this gospel doesn't really sound very hopeful. In fact, it sounds rather scary. Jesus talks very vividly about what is going to happen when he comes again. In particular, that the powers of heaven, the powers of earth will be shaken. Literally, the earth will tremble at the sight of the Messiah. In fact, Jesus goes so far as to say people will literally die of fright over what, or rather who, they are seeing. But this is what hope does, and this is what Jesus tells us today, is that hope always carries us through those uncertain, scary moments of our life. When we feel like there is no answer, when we're asking God for something, or we're asking for an answer to something that we've been struggling with, and we don't receive the answer, or rather we get an answer that we don't want, we can wonder, where is the hope? What can I hope in? What can I expect in my life that I've been asking for, but I haven't received? So here Jesus goes, have you found your hope in me, the hope that I give you each and every day? Did I not give you enough hope when I chose to be born into the world for you? Did I give you enough hope when I lived my life, spread the gospel so that you one day may see, read, and hear it? Have I not given you enough hope that I took up my cross and died for you? You see, we can always find hope in our lives. We can always make sure that hope rings true in our hearts, because at the heart of hope is redemption. Jesus would have never been born into this world if he did not intend to redeem us. If he was just born, lived a life, lived for 33 years and just died, he just would have been another great teacher. He just would have been another great religious leader. But Jesus made it possible that not only is hope real, he is hope. You've heard me say before that love is not just an adjective to describe God, that God is love itself. And the same thing goes for hope. Hope is not an adjective or a word just to describe God. God is hope. And Jesus is the living embodiment of hope. In him, we find hope in the most fullest, the most beautiful, in the most beautiful way. But then we also go back to our gospel. And Jesus does tell us what will happen when he does come again. Those who look down at him, or rather look down upon his coming, what they're really doing is they're looking down, not really at him per se, but they're looking down on themselves, because they are like Red in Shawshank Redemption. They have no hope. They've given up. They have nothing to expect, or they feel that nothing is going to change in their life. So Jesus says, if you want to find hope, make it possible in your life that change is necessary. You may have to change some things about your life, especially in this Advent season, to make sure that you receive the hope that I am. But with that change comes the promise that I am always with you. I am always preparing myself for you. I am preparing to come into the world on Christmas for you. And then there are those who look up, those who live their lives despite the struggles, despite the crosses they are called to bear, who know that in hope, Jesus is real. Their hope has been rewarded. And that hope for them is not a cute little word to describe something that they are waiting for. In fact, hope is real, hope is true, and hope fulfills everything that we could have ever imagined. Even when all hope seems lost, we can find that one little speck, that one little moment, that one little second of God's love. And we can hold on to that really tight and put that right close to our hearts and never let it go. Because all God needs is a speck. All he needs is a second to enter into our hearts. And once he does, that never ends. It always carries into eternity. Because the fullest reality of hope is heaven. And the expectation of heaven is why we live our lives on this earth. It is the reason why Jesus came to earth. Also, during this time, we can hope to do a lot of things, but we can find it very hard to find time for anything instead of just wrapping presents and sending out Christmas cards and making sure that Christmas photo is taken and everyone's eyes are not shut and everyone's smiling at the camera. We have to make sure, in a special way, that we take the time to heal the relationships in our lives, especially the ones that we hope to heal. During this time, it's going to be a happy season for a lot of people. But it's also going to be a time of sadness for a lot of people, because this is going to be their first Christmas without their mother, their father, their husband, their wife, brother, sister, son, daughter, whatever, grandchild, whatever or friend, best friend, whatever it may be. So if you have a relationship in your life that needs healing, try to heal it. Expect it to be healed. Even if it's not in the moment, have hope that it will be. Because we say this is the most wonderful time of the year. Well, it can be in ways that we don't even think possible. Take those relationships and be hopeful. And as we go through this season of Advent, let us always take hope in the fact that Jesus lived his life, was born and lived for our redemption. That is the greatest gift. That is the greatest example and witness of hope that we have ever been given and that we could ever expect to receive. Praise be Jesus Christ.